You were doing maintenance, you preferred like the electrical stuff, the control stuff. So your goal was to ultimately become a controls engineer.
Yeah. And I wanted
But
to be better at.
what were you not enjoying perhaps as a maintenance engineer?
Sometimes the type of jobs you would get, like,
What advice would you give to like anyone that's like maintenance engineer, service engineer, similar to you, like, and they want to do similar to what you've done, progress into
mhm.
becoming a controls engineer? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, the advice I said to him, I was like, I don't know all the best routes. I don't know exactly what the best route is for everyone, all the routes to get into it. But
Okay, so this video is all about how one of our guys, Wesley, went from being a maintenance engineer, sick and tired of working crazy shift patterns, bored, uninspired, and stuck in the same old routine, to landing a role as a controls engineer. A role where he now is seen as a valued, trusted member of the team with the chance to develop a specialist in-demand skill set that most engineers never get exposed to. And this is his story. And if you ever want to reach out to Wes, maybe to offer him a career or business opportunity, which by the way I highly recommend because he's one of those rare people with that top 1% attitude and mindset and the hunger to keep on developing his engineering skills, you'll find his contact details down in the description. So let's get into his story. So yeah, mate, I appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday. What were you doing then before joining us? You were maintenance, were you?
yeah, so I've always worked in like food production companies. I did an apprenticeship in multi-skilled maintenance. So I was like trained electrically, mechanically, in like fluid power, pneumatics, hydraulics, could fabricate, weld. So you're kind of like
Yeah.
a jack of all trades, really, but like a master of none.
So your goal then, you were doing maintenance, you preferred like the electrical stuff, the control stuff. So your goal was to ultimately become a controls engineer.
Yeah. And I wanted
But
to
what
be better at the software design side. I wanted to be able to understand it better, understand how the hardware links with it, how things are like
yeah.
designed like safely and stuff like that. I wanted to be
What
able to have that skill.
what were you not enjoying perhaps as a maintenance engineer? Like you mentioned shift work and stuff. Like
Yeah, it
was
was
there anything else?
yeah, the shift work, and I would probably say that sometimes the type of jobs you would get, like I think sometimes like the better you get on, the more you progress. Like you've always got things to learn, but sometimes the jobs I would get, if it was like someone's like smashed an e-stop off something, or someone's bringing me something that they I don't know they've damaged or destroyed, like it's not really challenging me. Like it's just like mundane, boring jobs that I don't really want to do. The only time that I would be like excited to go and do a job and want to do it and like, get stuck into it was like the technical jobs, like stuff that
Yeah.
people have been on and they can't fix or they can't figure it out, or there's a big electrical problem, and like it's like actually challenging you.
What's awesome, man, is like you didn't even like you just finished the first foundation bit within the program before getting
Yeah,
into panel building, testing, fault finding, the design, the specifying, the documentation, and then like there's the career and the business stuff. Like you just done the foundations, then you've just gone bang, landed a position as a controls
well,
engineer.
the foundation stuff is the stuff that I've ticked, that I've done, but that's because I've made notes on it as well. The other
Okay.
stuff, I have started playing bits and jumped to stuff, but because I haven't made notes on it, I won't tick it all off if you get me. So
Okay.
I've
Yeah.
not, I've only started like I've done like put a little bit on design, a little bit on panel, and then I jumped onto even some of the stuff on YouTube. I think you have like I've watched that before, that are like similar videos. So I've like jumped in between just because I've been so busy trying to pick up some new software stuff as well. So I've kind of been juggling a few
Yeah.
things. So yeah, I've done. So yeah, I've smashed the foundation course and made like loads of notes, like Word documents, drawings, all sorts on it. Um, just because I think it was good to see because I'm not from BMS world, and some of the stuff on that like the components and the tech manuals, like it's actually good for me to read because every now and then in maintenance you'd have to go into like a boiler room or a plant room or something like that and fix stuff. And actually we had we had a similar thing where where I just left, like a thermal oil heater, and there was a laid out like similar to like a BMS kind of panel, and I actually fixed it. It was like a pump that was on overload, but I just read the drawings pretty quick. Um, the overload had tripped, so they hadn't opened the valve, so it was pumping
Right.
against a dead end,
Yeah.
so it was
Right.
just
Yeah.
overloading.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was good to just like have that. Like I could read the drawings, like, but it's good because some of the other stuff that was on that and like the pressure switches, like I was like, oh, I've seen them on the foundation. Even starting this new job, they had the CTs. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I know how they work, I know how they're wired and stuff like that. Are they digital? Are they analog? Do you know what I mean? Things like that.
Yeah.
So like little bits, like I've actually picked up since doing the foundation course, and then I've started just touching on little bits of like the business or the career specialist and the panel and stuff like that. But I've not made the notes yet.
Was it just getting that clarity, that confidence, like going through that first phase, that was enough to just like propel you to this
Um,
next
to, to,
stage in
to,
your
to be
career?
honest, to be honest, I had it was from when I started speaking to you about joining the course. I was like, this is something that I actually want in. I want to, so I wanted the course and learn and have all the aspect that the course teaches, like almost like there's like one, I almost had like two stages in my head. So I wanted that to be nailed down, and then the software was like another stage of it. And then, so what I'd actually decided was do this course, um, and at the same time as speaking to you, and because something that you said to me in the when I was actually speaking to you about doing the course and joining, you said something about how much did you learn at college, as an
Mm,
apprentice,
mm.
and I was like, it was like, would you? I think I was asking you about what routes would you go down, to get into this, to get into the control side, and then I'd mentioned like, should I do this course? Should I just be looking at maybe like university stuff and going to uni, retraining and stuff like that? And I think you mentioned like, how much did you learn at college? And I was like, well, yeah, next to nothing. It was. I learned a couple of basics, made my own notes, and then it was all just struggling through at work and just getting hands-on
Yeah.
experience. So it was that conversation, deciding to have this is a good thing to have and understand all of it. Have that almost like as stage one of the process, and then stage two was going to be the software. So I just decided I'm just going to jump at a job and just try and see if I can get in, and that'll deal with the software at the end. So it was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
it was all just like a big thing that I put together, and I was like, it was that comment that you made about how much did you learn. I was like, yeah, I just need to jump. So from that, I was like, start the course, and I was like, I'm just going to jump out, putting myself in the deep end somewhere if I can. Um, and it kind of lined up that I started the course, and like 2 weeks later, they offered me the job. So it was just like I was doing it at the same time, if you will. It was a bit
What
hectic to be honest, but that's just how it worked out. You just have to take your chances.
so what elements within the program would, and I know you've jumped about a bit, but you've done the first bit. So
Yeah.
what part of the first bit would you say sort of helped you the most with where you're at now
It
within
was
that?
more just to see how you got maybe a project that it's a real world project that you've been given from somebody else. So it was nice to just see how you like kind of like because I could kind of tell you like broke it down and then how you'd reach. So like now at this project, like I'm quite comfortable thinking if I need to. I don't know, design software, there might be a component that I actually need to get like a data sheet and read the manual for and stuff like that. It's kind of like help start the structure in my head how things are done from scratch, if you get me. So that was a big help. And then it was generally just going through and just having. I probably can't put my finger on it exactly, but it was just building on knowledge that I had. That was it. Like I feel like I don't know exactly how it's helped, but I just build knowledge so it helps me somewhere along the
Yeah,
line, or reading something, or reading a drawing, or like
yeah,
there is things that I've come across where it's like, well, I've seen that here in this drawing that you've done or in this course or whatever, and it has helped. It's probably like so much stuff that you're taking in. It's hard
yeah,
to pinpoint exactly this one
yeah,
thing is helping me here. Like,
yeah. No, I get it, man. What advice would you give to like anyone that's like maintenance engineer, service engineer, similar to you? What advice would you give them to like, and they want to do similar to what you've done, progress into
Mm.
becoming a controls engineer, what advice would you give them?
Someone else just DM'd me on Instagram
Oh,
from my
really?
page, yeah, asking like,
Oh,
he's like,
awesome.
I was in the same position. Like, yeah, the advice I said to him, I was like, I don't know all the best routes. I don't know exactly what the best route is for everyone, all the routes to get into it. But like I said, from my experience, like I decided it's something that I want to do, and it's definitely something that I want to do. Put myself out there. Obviously, spoke to people in the know, so that's
Yeah.
whether that's you, people I know from work that are in that industry, and then I just kind of put in a little bit of a plan. Like I said, I just kind of switched and thought, how how can I realistically get myself into this job? And it was taking risks a little bit. Like, I'm just gonna
Mm.
apply for this and see what happens. Like, apply for maybe a fully qualified role, and if I don't get it, well, at least I've gone in and I know what questions they ask, what kind of things I
Yeah.
need to learn. You
Yes.
know what I mean? Like,
Exactly, mate. Yeah.
the worst you can get is a no. Do you know what I
Is
mean?
a
Like,
no. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you can learn from it, and yeah, you might be a bit
Yeah.
uncomfortable, and you might look a bit daft or whatever, but. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to make them mistakes, don't you? Like, at the end of the day, I know if I keep doing that enough, it might be uncomfortable doing it, but I'll end up where I want to be eventually. Even like messaging people on LinkedIn that are active in that kind of world, like, is there any opportunities? Can you give me any advice? And so, I mean, like, this was a good thing. Like, this was kind of like a jump for me, investing in myself. I just thought I'm going to invest in myself, sure that I'm, because that was one thing I got offered a job at Warburton's. It was, they offered me a job to come on as a maintenance engineer, but look at becoming like a an advanced apprentice in the future. So along with my job, I'll go and do university, if you will. And they've got a few people there that have done the same route, and they're controls engineers now. But I just say sometimes it's dangling the carrot, and it might never actually be there.
Yeah.
Which is why I decided against it. However, one thing that they jumped at was seeing that I'd invested in myself in this course. So it shows your intentions. Like, that's a big step if you're going to invest yourself. And
Oh, what? Sorry, explain that. So the Warburton's place that you turned
yeah,
down, they saw that you'd invested in yourself in a pro.
what I actually did was, so on my CV I put the skills that I have, and I put it very like basic, just to show like what skills I have. And I had things like my qualifications and some courses that I've been on, or things that I put in. And one thing I put on that was the control system specialist course at the automation, and I put what the course was about, and I put self-funded. So they asked,
Awesome.
on the CV, it looks like an interesting thing. They're like, oh, what's that? Um,
Right.
so then I
Okay.
explained what it was, explained what I was
Yeah.
doing, explained that I'd funded it myself because I want to get into that in the future. And they was
Yeah.
like loving it because they kind of saying, well, that was one thing that they wrote it down. I said, no, they make notes across the table.
Yeah.
That was, I seen them straight away. As soon as I said it, they put like invested so much money into the course yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they put like exclamations next to it. And then, so you can quite clearly see that whoever it is, if I was interviewing somebody doing that, it's like, well, he's trying to get, like, he's investing in himself. He wants to be
Yeah.
better. He's not coming
Yeah.
like just for the money. He wants to get where he wants to get, kind of thing. So that was like it's a big selling point. You know what I mean? So
Mate, that's massive. And I
yeah,
might have to steal that to recommend that to other guys within the
yeah,
program. Because
yeah,
I've always said, oh, like, oh, the people that I speak to, oh, do you get a certificate at the end of it? It's
yeah,
like we can make you a certificate if you want. Like, we just made a guy a certificate. Like,
yeah,
but it's meaningless. Like,
yeah,
what actually matters is what you know. Can you communicate that and like give those
yeah,
people trust that you are the right guy and you
yeah,
care? So like another certificate, as long as you've got like the stuff that you've got, like the engineering background or electrical background, like that's enough. It's then the controls is just the knowledge, the understanding on top of that.
yeah.
But we can give you a certificate if you want. So I've always kind of joked a little bit that it's not
Yeah.
that important.
What I did was I used it because I always believe, I think, if you know what you're talking about and you're skilled and you're confident in your own abilities, you just need that foot in the door. I always think if I can get my foot in the door and I can get in an interview room, can show them my skills, and because in there, But I got the foot in the door and they trade tested me. So they tested me on reading electrical schematics,
Yeah.
drawings.
Yeah.
If this happened, if you had a fault on this circuit, how would you minimize the time? And I'm giving them
Yeah.
clear things that I would do in front of me. So I've used the course as a part of my CV to
Right.
make it stand out, get myself in the door, but then I've also backed it up. So when they've trade
Yeah.
tested me and asked these questions, well, I've smashed it because I know what I'm talking about. But maybe if I didn't have that on my CV, I might not have got the foot in the door, so I wouldn't have been in the room to
Right.
impress them. If you get me, that's what I kind
Yeah.
of used it for a little bit.
That's awesome, mate. I love it. And yeah, like you touched on, if an employer, hiring manager, business owner like sees this, questions it, they understand sort of the level of investment that you put into it, financially, time,
Yeah,
like someone that actually cares about them, their career, their development, willing to do that.
yeah,
Because let's be honest, mate, like 99% of people, they don't care enough, and that's
yeah,
why they just stay mediocre.
yeah,
But it's like that 1% of people that actually willing to invest in
yeah,
themselves, that will just set you apart from like
yeah.
all the other people that you're interviewing against.
People are just scared of the failure or the mistake or the whatever. And I've always like just thought like I've had a situation where there's an apprentice, I wired a motor wrong, and every engineer was stood there and they all seen it, and they all have a joke. Do you know what I mean? But you get thick skin from it and you learn from it, and
Yeah,
I think if your mentality is like, oh well, I'll show you, or I'll do this, or that won't happen again. I'll learn from
yeah,
it. I'll never be in that situation again. Or if there's something that I've been stuck on in my breakdown, I'll just think, well, I didn't understand how this works, so I'll go home and I'll learn it. I'll never get caught short again on that. If you've got that
yeah,
mentality and you've got thick skin, actually, loads of people have done the same thing that you've done wrong. And
yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's nothing new. Everyone's done this mistake before, or everyone's done that. And unless you do it, you don't know about it. So you just got to change your mindset.
Yeah, like this has been awesome, man. Thank you for
Yeah.
taking the time on a Saturday as well.
No, yeah, you're fine.
And yeah, just keep me updated with how things go, and like don't be a stranger in the community.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll be following you on Instagram. So
Cheers.
yeah,
Make sure.
good,
Yeah.
good stuff, mate. Like fair play to you. Yeah, you smashed it, mate. So yeah, keep on smashing it, and
Yeah.
yeah, good things will happen.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks for that, Chris.
All right, Wes, take it easy, buddy.
Great. See you later.
Cheers, mate. Bye bye.
Bye.
Now, look, what you've just watched here on YouTube is only half of the conversation me and Wes actually had. And if you want to listen to the full, unedited, raw chat between us and really get into the nuts and bolts, excuse the pun, of how he went from being stuck as a maintenance engineer to thriving as a controls engineer, you'll find the link in the description. And if you're an engineer yourself watching this and you'd like to see if we could potentially help you do what Wes did, you'll also find all of the details on how you can go about getting our help in the description as well.